Yep.
Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and friend. That's right, Kargeet Chani is here, but we do have one of the founding fathers, Gaming Forte, should be joining us, as well as Kay Asante momentarily. Folks, I had originally wrote this show as a two-topic or two-tier conversation. And I got to tell you, what happened today for Nintendo's Switch 2 reveal was both super exciting for a big nerd like me and incredibly disappointing for someone that is looking at what could be potentially an industry that could implode. We're gonna break everything down because there are suggested $90 physical games, $80 digital games, a console that is $449 for the console itself, $500 for the Mario Kart World Edition, which is not a special edition in any way other than it's just comes with a digital copy of it. I have all of the listings of the games, so we're gonna try and have a positive conversation, but when there's smoke, well, we're going to give it. But before we get into any of the smoke and any of the things that happened today, I want to welcome everybody here. I want to thank everybody who took the time to hang out with me and Fuzzy and N64 Josh, where we covered exactly what happened. The show went 90 minutes. We had over 550 people watching live across Twitch, X, and YouTube, which was awesome. A lot of people threw some virtual tomatoes at me, which is, I get it, folks. I understand that if I buy a Switch 2 and then I go out and I buy a copy of Donkey Kong, I'm ultimately a part of the problem. I make no apologies for being a Nintendo fan. We have the list of games that are coming out, and if this list stays true and there's no 3D Mario that gets announced on September 13th, which becomes the official 40th anniversary of the plumber, which I think they are going to have something for the holidays, I'll be buying only 4 games, and they're going to be all new Switch games, Switch 2 games. I won't be buying anything else because everything else I already own, either on the PlayStation or on the Xbox, so there's no need to buy any of those things. But before we get into any of that, Kargeet Chani, you and I were having a pretty detailed conversation. I'm sure that at some point it is going to come up because, again, like I was saying before, there are some people in the community that think that tariffs have nothing to do with what happened today. There are others, like myself and Infinite Umbra, believing that tariffs do, in fact, play a massive part of what is happening today. And, folks, I got news for you. Thanks to Shinobi602, who is a prominent member of the Twitter community and a consistent member who drops knowledge bombs for everyone to enjoy and appreciate. Well, we have a report here that's coming the way of Bloomberg.com. We're going to get into it, but tariffs, folks, I hate to say this, are going to play a huge part, not only in the Nintendo Switch 2 drama and games, it is going to play a massive part in next-gen hardware, game design, and where those games are made. But Kargeet Chani, brother, welcome back. Nice to see you here. We have a lot to get into.
Yeah. Well, first,
let's go,
Mario. Let's go. Yeah, we had some fun today. Prices, we'll get into that, but let's just talk about the fun of what we saw.
Yeah, I'd like to open up with the games
we'll
because yeah. So you know what? Look,
this is about having enjoyment, right? And that was a pretty good show. So let's get into it.
You know what? I think that we were so taken aback, Josh, myself, and Fuzzy Belvedere, that as the host, I totally forgot to ask the question, not only to the panel, which of course we're here for you guys and gals, but the chat of what you actually rated the event. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. Someone asked me on Twitter, I gave it a 10 out of 10. And here's the thing, folks. It's not because I'm blind to what's happening or I have limited money. Everyone knows my situation. I'm a retiree. I have to be very mindful on my spending. That's just the way it is, right? But the show itself, for me as a Nintendo fan, we're getting GameCube games. I know old games don't matter to a whole mess of people. I hear you. I get it. Waker a part of that. The old school F-Zero. I mean, there's a lot to get excited about. The new Donkey Kong looks amazing. Metroid, yes, I get it. It does look maybe like a 360 game or maybe a PS4 game. I totally get that. But who could not smile at what we saw? Like, Metroid looks great. I'm sorry, folks. Like, I get it. We're all disappointed. We're all bent out of shape. We're all pissed off. These prices.
I don't know why, but anyway, we'll get into it.
But you know what, Hargy, let's start off with positivity here. I'm interested to get your thoughts on the show, how it was handled, and more importantly, the new features for the Switch 2 and some of your favorite game announcements. Brother, let's talk about it.
So I thought the show was decent. I liked it. The only thing that was missing for me was what you mentioned, the 3D Mario. I was looking forward to that reveal. I think that's going to be a later down the road. They're going to reveal that maybe summer a little later. And I think you're right. It's probably the fall game that they're going to have. But yeah, that looks like a pretty good show from let's take the price out of it, just from a content perspective. The one that was a little weird to me was the mouse thing that they're doing with the Joy-Cons. We knew about that. They kind of showed that.
They kind of showed that off, trailer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of an odd thing. They had a game specifically for it, as we expected, right? There would be games that they put together to take advantage of the new feature sets, right? And they had a couple of those, and that was one of them. So that one's kind of odd. Very cool that they finally have chat built in. The C button was about chat. That is very awesome. They finally have come to that. They actually did a really good implementation where you don't even need to have a headset. You can just talk and it picks up your voice. Fantastic, right? And if you want to wear a headset, they have the headset jack on the Pro Controller. You can use that too. Fair enough, but you don't even have to bother. And if you buy their camera, you can actually be on video with people. That great stuff. Cool. So that's a very cool feature. I hear there's achievements that
for the Zelda games.
Some of the games.
Yes,
that's another cool feature, right? So we get that on Nintendo now. So overall, really good. 1080p, 120 hertz panel. Docked 4K 60. That's the max.
120 frames in some games, dude. Like, holy freaking!
Yeah. So Metroid, for instance, 120, right? So cool, right? And they're pushing like some of that capability. That's awesome, right? What they didn't mention is battery life. So I'm not sure what that means there. We will have to figure that out when we get the devices, right? So I maybe they give you more about that, but ultimately these are just sort of specs in theory, because they tell us until we have it in our hands, we'll then find out what it really means, right? And so we'll get the deep dives. Hey, this game, this is what it actually did, right? And now we're getting the third-party support. We had a whole bunch of third-party games that have been skipping. Elden Ring was the starter. My goodness, they started the flood of all the games that are coming over to Nintendo again. This is good. So now we have a third console platform where the third party publishers, developers, indies, they'll all be able to put their game there. That's fantastic. But what we will get to see is comparative performance, right? Cyberpunk, how well does it do on this new Switch 2 versus Series S or X or PS5, et cetera, et cetera. We'll have those comparisons available to us. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But that's when it comes out, which is not far away. It's in June. So it's coming right up. So overall, like, there was a lot of first party stuff. I was hoping to have that 3D Mario, but they didn't have that. They had Donkey Kong instead. Okay, cool. They had a bunch of other things. You mentioned GameCube, and they'll expand that library. And that brings over a Wind Waker, which has been kind of absent, right? So cool. We have that. We have a whole bunch of other, like retreads, as it were, sort of like bringing older IPs back, which is cool. So we have some of those kind of games coming in. I still like the Mario Kart, though that has a little bit of a controversy with the price, but we'll the price. Overall, like from a content perspective, it was good. From a reveal perspective, it was good. I was not expecting this to blow away my 4090. That's just a stupid expectation. That card's $2,000, right? Don't expect it to do that. Not to mention it the power requirement to run that thing is insanity. It's just never going to be running portable, right? So just forget it. It's not something that you would expect, right? I'm expecting something like an Asus ROG, right? It's something at that level, especially the lower tier, right? Maybe a last gen console getting close to a Series S, that kind of thing, right? So fair enough. We don't know what the CPU oomph is. At least I didn't see that in the direct specs that they've published. We've had plenty of leaks, right? But I'm not going to go by leaks. I want to go by what they tell us. So we'll get a teardown eventually of what we have here. But the fact that you've got all these games coming over, that's a good sign, right? So you have these games coming. I want to see, new games. What was crazy was the exclusive From Software game. Like, okay, that's an interesting choice. But yeah, like that's pretty cool that they have that. I mean, I'm not a fan of locking it to just console. I think it should go to console and PC, even if you're going to do this exclusivity arrangement. But fair enough. They have a lockdown for that for however long. Maybe they own the IP. I don't even know, right? But like Bloodborne, right? Maybe that's what they're doing here. I don't know. But if I was From, I would never do that. I would say fine, it's locked for a year and then put the game everywhere else so it makes its money. But either way, that was an interesting announcement, right? You're like, oh, okay, that's an exclusive
bit of a shocker, man.
To Switch. Wow. So there you go. Now that's the kind of thing that opens up, right? Now you have that direct competition between PlayStation and Nintendo, because Nintendo, you can't really just knock around. They are a big platform. And, third parties now can put their game there. Like, cool, we can have that same arrangement that PlayStation's been doing. Nintendo can do the same thing. So now you could get something like that. That was a very interesting announcement. But yeah, it was overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. I'd give it like a B+. I'm not going to go 10 out of 10 because I missed my Mario.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
And I'll caveat the backwards compatibility with you have to pay for upgrades, right? This is the PlayStation model, not the Microsoft model, the Xbox model, which is smart delivery and you just get the upgrades. Which is I prefer that. I'm like, hey, I bought the hardware, I already own the game. Why are you making pay? By the way, this is the PC standard, right? I don't ever pay for an upgrade. I bought the game. I get a new card. It takes advantage of it. That's it. I don't have to pay for an upgrade for that. It's just there. So, I'm not sure how useful that is for the consumer. It kind of sucks, but they do have it. And there is the potential that many of these upgrades will be part of the online service. If you,
I was just going to, I was literally just going to say that because someone had made mention in the live chat, which of course, thank you, you were a part of, that the higher tiered online service, which I pay for, which gets you
some of these upgrades.
It will include some of these upgrades. Now, they didn't specifically say which ones or how many, but supposedly
I want to say the Zelda ones were in there. So if they were in there, I'm hoping the rest are in there. But again, we're just at the beginning of this journey to get all the information. Pre-orders haven't even started yet. That's next week. Look, and I guess we can get into the price issue. I think everybody kind of got like destroyed by 450. That was not out of the realm of possibility, right? The thoughts of
most people thought it was going to come in at $399, but you actually have said this not only on this show, Hargeet, but on C Money and many of the shows that you're on. These companies are no longer going to take the L up front for these consoles. They're just not going to do that. And I think this is a perfect example. Now, granted, look, we got to call a spade a spade. When the Nintendo Switch came out in 2017, it was already old tech. And Nintendo was making money on that tech. I don't know, and maybe you can expand on that, whether this new tech is in fact new, because I know that softly this system has been compared to a PS4 Pro in power.
Yeah, so is it new? Is it old? It's new-ish, right? There are parts of it that are currently available, but the engine for graphics is kind of something custom that they put together here. So at least from what this is all rumor, right? So as what we understand, that's what they did. So it's a new APU that they've kind of designed with NVIDIA to run this thing. The old one was I think it was like the NVIDIA Shield CPU. They just
Yeah,
took that
it was
and
pretty bad.
and they just said, "Hey, it's available. We'll just use it." And they put together the Switch. So it was relatively cheap, right? That APU was already pretty cheap to begin with, so it was relatively cheap for them to do that. This has a little bit more oomph to it. They're also putting in more tech. There's a 120 hertz panel, things like that just they add up, right? It's an HDR display, so it's a little bit more expensive. But let's compare that to the other side. How much do you pay for a Series X or a PS5? It's in the same range, but you say, oh, but there's more power. This is portable. It has a screen. You have to pay for that. There's a battery. You have to pay for that. Unfortunately, that's the way it is, right? So if you look at the low tier Asus ROG, for instance, I think it's 400, something like that. But it's like 2 T-flops. It's less power than this thing. So you have to look at that realistically and say, well, how much less is it going to get? I mean, it's going to be in that range. So it was always going to be 400 to 500. It was just a question of where. It would have been nice if it was 400, but things are the way they are. It's 450. The rest of the rumors were pretty spot on. Like how much storage and all that stuff. It was pretty spot on. Look, it's a pretty good device. 450 seems reasonable for what you're getting. People may not agree with that, but how much you spend on a ROG Ally? You have one of those, right?
Yes, I spent this is an original one. This isn't an X. So when I got it, I think it was 5 and change. Was it $5.99? It was somewhere in the
it's like $600-700, right? And it's like
something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so you spent that for a portable. This is cheaper than that portable, but this is the fun part now, right? They have competition, right? Nintendo isn't going to be alone in this market. They have competition from all these PC providers, and you also have this Xbox one that's coming up, right? So there's the hybrid that's coming up, and then you also have the Xbox directly making their own portable. This will be a fun thing to see back and forth as to where the market goes with it, right? It all comes down to games. The PC has a ton of games, right? So, there's going to be a few exclusives, sure, but pretty much everything else they have is probably going to be available on PC, right? So you have the option of saying, I could buy this device or that device, this much power, that much power. I don't know how the market reacts. Like some of that could be overkill. Like they just don't want to deal with that. They just want a simple device. Nintendo's awesome for that. Here you go, simple device. Don't think about it. Just play your games, right? They've made the ecosystem pretty simple to use. Now, the flip side of that is if you want the ability to play those games that are on PC that aren't on the Nintendo Switch or Switch 2, you will potentially have a better opportunity on the other side, right? We'll see how that plays out, right? So this is a fun time. We have more and more hardware. Now, as far as the game cost, like it's just going to 70. That's what we should expect, right? So if you're expecting these current gen games that are selling for $70 on PlayStation and Xbox and PC, why would you expect them to sell it for less on this place on the new Nintendo Switch? I mean, it just makes sense, right? So so Switch's own games, like the Nintendo games, they're also going to be $70, except for the one Mario Kart's $80. I don't know if that's a one-off. You might expect the next Zelda will probably be that way too, maybe more.
Yeah,
wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me because look, how many people are not going to buy Mario Kart? First off, they're bundling it, right? So you're going to get a bunch of sales with a bundle. But how many people are not going to buy Mario Kart? It's like one of the premier games on Switch, right? So they know they have you. You're already a captive audience to that. So okay, it's $10 more. Are you going to say no? It sucks. It's like GTA. Are you going to say no? What if GTA comes out at $90? Are you going to say no? I'm not going to buy it. No, good luck. Fine.
I said
if
it comes out at $100, I'm not buying GTA 6. If it's $100. Now I do want to say two things. One, shout out to Special Nick. Special Nick, brother, great to see you here. We got to figure out a schedule. We got to get you on, Nick. And Snake Eyes, 327. He asked a great question, and I want to answer it. He says, "Boom, you said you would not. I wouldn't do $100 games, $100 for games, and now Nintendo is going to sell physical games for $90. Where are you sitting at that $10 difference?" Well, here's the thing. I make no qualms of being a Nintendo guy. Yes, I'm an Xbox guy through and through. That's the brand. That's what I'm known as, Mr. Xbot. I totally get that, but when I said I would not go for $100 GTA, I was freaking serious. Now we're seeing games that are $90. Well, for me, Mario Kart is going to be $50 because I'm buying the $500 console that's going to come with the digital, so I don't have to spend $90. Now, the only games that I'm buying this year are first party, and so far that's 4 of them. So let me just bring up the list over here. And again, shout out to The Verge, who wrote this article. I want to give credit where credit is due. This is Jay Peters. He put out an article a couple of hours ago. Every Nintendo Switch 2 game announced. So, of course, you want to give credit where credit is due. And there are a lot of games here. There are a ton of games that I'm not buying. So the 2 games I am buying, so right out of the gate, is Mario Kart World. Now, there is this Nintendo Switch 2 welcome tour. I don't know if I'm buying that. Like, that should be a freaking pack-in. Like, I'm not going to buy that.
That was an odd choice. That was an odd choice.
100% odd choice. Like, how is that? You're going to make me buy something to show off how the system works? That's freaking great. That's a pack-in, right? Okay, fine. I don't know what that survival kids thing is. Definitely not for me. The next game that I would buy that's not part of the $500 console is going to be Donkey Kong Bonanza, because that freaking looked amazeballs. And the next one for me would be winter of 2025, and that's Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, which looks freaking amazing. And that's it. So I'm going to go in for the console. I'm getting Mario Kart with it. And the 2 games that I am going to buy are these games. Now, I don't know. Donkey Kong is $70, right? Hyrule Warriors, it's not a full-on Zelda experience, so it's probably going to be $70 as well. Though that's my spending for the Nintendo Switch 2. So I mean, and I said this, I'm being straight up honest. If GTA is $108 plus after tax here in New Rochelle, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Now, if I get my Microsoft points, and I have 200,000 points, like I'm sitting on right now, but I'm constantly buying games on Xbox. My points are constantly going up. If I can get GTA for free and spend 100,000 points, I'll get it for free. I'm not spending $108 out of my pocket. That I won't do. And I don't think I would buy a $100 Switch game. So I hope that answers it. Again, it's a great question, Snake Eyes, and I appreciate you being here, brother. But yeah, $90 again. There's smoke to be had here. Make no mistake. Even the biggest fan, which is I'm a huge Nintendo guy. Like, I have 103 physical games right here. That's not counting the 60 games I have digitally. Like, I am a Nintendo stan. I make no qualms on that. But $90 games is ridiculous. That is absolutely absurd. But please,
So I would add a few games to that looked kind of cool. First, Metroid. I'm definitely interested in buying that. So hopefully that'll be a good game. But there's Kirby Air Riders. I don't know if you liked that one,
dude. That was a GameCube game. Yes, please. Now that's okay. So that is the other one. Now it says to be announced in 2025. That would be the 3rd game that I would purchase, because not only do I love Kirby, and great character. Kirby Air Riders was dope on the on the GameCube. So
yeah, so that's another one. They have the Super Mario Party Jamboree.
I already own that.
Which,
yeah,
I think they just have an extension to. Is that right? There's something for the Switch version, right? So
yes.
I don't know if that if it like is a free upgrade or if you have to pay for it, whatever. But or if it's part of the subscription, right? We'll see. The GameCube stuff, that's pretty cool, but that just comes. Dust Bloods, are you interested in that one?
You know what? Here's the thing. It's crazy. I have Bloodborne. I'm terrible at it, right? Terrible. I played Elden Ring. I beat every boss in the game except the last MF. First form, no problem. The fact that you couldn't ride your steed in the last part when that flying monster thing, ridiculous. It killed me, and I got close a couple times. I was like, you know what, F this. So I didn't become Elden Lord. It's fine. It still haunts me, but okay. I would buy that game, but see, here is where I would have a massive amount of pushback. If this is a $90 game, then Boom is out because
No, I'm sure it's 70, but
yeah,
okay,
there's just no way I can justify dropping nearly $100 after tax for a game I'm going to pick up, play, die six or seven times, be like, this just isn't for me.
it's coming next year, not even this year, but
No, 2026.
But look,
yeah,
and I don't know
confirmed.
what the arrangement is, if it's fully exclusive or if it's a timed exclusivity thing or whatever, right? Maybe we'll get more information about that. But if it comes to PC or it comes to Xbox or something like that, it might be a better place for you to buy it on the Xbox or something like that, right? But
yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, there's a couple there. Overall, like this cost thing is, I'm not sure what. Like, do people expect these to be what, $10? I guess I just don't understand what you were expecting. Like, it's next gen. Do you think Cyberpunk should not be charging full price? Is that why? Because it's old, or like the next game that comes out? Let's say it's Witcher 4 is coming to this game, console. Should they charge less because it's on this console? Like, what is the expectation? I just don't understand what people were thinking there. Yes, some games, like there's $110 remaster of Last of Us coming. Okay, that's kind of stupid, but
yeah.
okay. Those one-offs happen. That doesn't mean every game they're putting out is $110, right? But like that is the standard, right? They're now asking all these third-party publishers to put their games on here. Should they not charge normal prices, or are you expecting that to be cheaper for some reason? I guess I don't like, there's this furor about this for some reason, and it's
Yeah.
like, why? Like, if you don't want to like buy it, absolutely don't buy it. It's fine, right? And one of the beauties for us is we have Game Pass, right? Games, as they even get more and more pricey next generation, we still just have Game Pass. We don't have to worry about that on the Xbox side. It's awesome, and the PC side, to be fair, right? All those games are on PC Game Pass as well. So, and then you have like other ones like EA Play Pro or Ubisoft Plus if you want to get those. So it's some pretty good. So I'm playing AC Shadows, Ubisoft Plus.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So whatever. I'm just not sure what the expectation was. Were we expecting them to say, oh, because it's a Nintendo platform, we'll charge less? Like, why would that happen? They still have to make the game. It's still going to get ported. It's still going to work the same. Like Series S versions of games don't cost less. It's the same price. Were you expecting it to be less? I'm going to play it on a Series S. I swear I won't put it on the X. Like, why would it be any different? I'm just not sure why that was an expectation, right? Yes, one game is $80.
I think why there's expectations like that is, and again, I'm just spitballing here, folks. It's just an opinion. I think because games for Nintendo Switch are thought of as lesser quality because the console is lesser power, and that may be fair. Their games have been $60. There's been a few 70 ones in there, like the Zelda was, I believe, $70. And I only paid I only paid $50 for it because I bought. And folks,
and I hope that's still available.
I think it will be to some extent. Thing? Instead of what we're talking about is the vouchers. Now, if you don't know what we're referring to, what Nintendo does often is if you go to the store, you'll see an advertisement for $100 voucher that you buy. And it's split into two, and it gives you the choice of picking two new games. So some of the games that I have digitally, that some of the newer ones I got through this voucher. And when I would see the voucher for $100, I'd buy it. I'd sit on it, and I'd wait for a new game like Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, for instance. That came out. I got it digitally, but I paid $50. Now, I don't know if that's going away. I don't think so, because obviously it gets people to buy digital and gets people to spend money in advance, because you have to give them $100 to get the vouchers, and you just sit on the vouchers and you pick a game you want, and You just get it. Now the vouchers may more than likely going to go up, but if it's 110, 120, you're still paying only $60 for a game that could be upwards of $80 or even $90 for that matter. So I don't know. Again, folks, the choice is yours as the consumer. If you feel that you're being bamboozled, and there's a lot of people in this chat that are being like not trolls. I see so many new names here. First, I want to start off by saying thanks for taking the time to check us out. Right, we do this 5 days a week. This is one of the later shows. Normally, the panel is myself, Hargeet, and we have Kay Asante who joins us. He had a tough day at work, so maybe he's not going to join us. Mav might be able to pop in. And we're just waiting on Forte. Forte said he's going to try and get here as well. Look, there is, again, this is one of those stories, Hargy, and I want to shift to it because, again, I understand the pricing, folks. It's egregious. No one is making any excuses for Nintendo trying to try. And again, just read some of the articles. Like some of the carts that are $80 don't have the game on. You have to download the game even when you buy the cart. So it is literally an empty piece of plastic. It's unbelievable, right? Like, holy cow, what are you talking about? That's one of the things. I have some of the prices here. And again, this comes the way of another amazing member of the community, Wario64 on X. Mm-hmm. So here's some of the prices, folks. I know some people have been asking before we get into my thoughts and theories, where this really gets into the weeds of things. And JMO Money asked me in a DM to talk about it, so I'm going to oblige because I think there is something to be had here. The Switch 2 Pro controller, which, again, great controller, man. It's really sturdy, great controller. It's $80. That's. I mean, I'm not going to front. I'm buying it. I'm going to get that controller because the Pro controllers are great. They're really well made. They have a ridiculous battery life. And this one looks to be a little bit bigger. So I have big mitts. So it's going to fit in my hands perfectly. Pause. And we also have now this is a little bit crazy. I'm going to be honest with you. Don't lose a Joy-Con, folks. Because if you do, a pair of Joy-Cons are $90. Like, wow. Okay, don't do that. The camera. Someone had asked about the camera. I think I answered them, but it's $50. The camera looks crazy generic. Like it's on a wonky stand. Like I have a big, nice TV. There's got to be a way to prop this thing up. I don't want it on that stupid stand. That's ridiculous. The dock set. Like if you want, let's say, for instance, get another dock for another part of the home, it's $110. So I mean.
By the way, the prices for the physicals are out, and it's not $90 for Super Mario. It's $80.
It's $80.
So it's just 80. It's digital and physical, same cost. Okay. And then Super Mario Party Jamboree is $80. Tears of the Kingdom also $80. These are the Switch 2 versions.
Okay.
Breath of the Wild Switch 2 is $70. These are the physical. I don't know if there'd be any discounts on digital, but there you go. Donkey Kong is $70. Street Fighter is $60. The Kirby new one, Kirby the Forgotten Realms, Forgotten Land, Switch 2 edition, $80. So just giving you some of the prices.
Well, that's good to know. So there's no $90 games here. So it's $80, and even $80, like I said, folks. This is I'm writing an original topic. And it was sparked by something that Korkenstein said in a tweet that it has exploded on the scene, by the way. And he's also a part of Breakfast at Boom. So the original topic that I wrote that I'm currently writing is, besides this new pricing being not like I said it today, you think about changing the way prices for games look and feel for the consumer, it's opening the door. This was not that. Mm-hmm. Okay, this was Nintendo kicking in the door. They kicked in the door. Doors off. It's hanging off a hinge right now. And unfortunately, what this has done has justified EA and Take-Two and the rest of these companies. Sony is going to be right there in hand, where they're now going to start charging $80 for all their games. That this is a fact. Now there is a
next gen. I would fully expect that.
Oh, 1,000% next gen is going to be $80 games. Yeah, yeah. I don't know so much about what happens this gen, but I think what this does is really like we had heard a couple of months ago, Hargeet, that GTA was going to be $100, and I said if the GTA is $109.36, I'm just not buying it. And like I said, if I have points, I'll get it for free. If I get it for free, that's awesome. What are your thoughts on the other companies potentially moving to $80 games?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a give and take on this. So moving to 70 did reduce the volume of sales, but it increased revenue for some games. It made other games untenable because people just won't buy them. So there is a give and take on this, right? And so you have to figure out, does it make sense to keep increasing? If you have a captive audience, in other words, you have people who are just going to blindly buy the game anyway, GTA being one of those kind of games, you can go ahead and do it, right? You'll definitely generate revenue. Will it cause it to not sell as much? Probably. But you also get the enthusiasts up front, then you start putting it on sale, and then people will pick it up anyway, right? So it's kind of an odd situation. But there's also people who just get ticked off and like, I will never buy that game. That happens. And that is a pushback against that kind of thing. And there is a percent of people who have actually, have dropped off on buying these kind of games. On top of that, you have black hole games. They just exist. They take up a lot of time.
Yep.
And it's just becoming more and more prominent. The more you do this kind of thing, the more you push people to say, well, do I really want to spend that? Or do I just go and play, Fortnite, which I have my stuff there already, and it's there free to play. I just enjoy my game. Like what, there's a potential that it pushes this in a wrong direction to the point where it's not available, right? It's going to be bad. But hey, it's an interesting test. Again, we don't know if all the digital ones are going to be the same price too. They might be, it might not be, right? We'll find out. They're bundling it in for $50 more, yet the physical release is $80. That's not unheard of, right? That there'll be a difference, but that much, I don't know. We'll see, right? So we will see what the digital costs are for these things. In that same vein, is the upgrade cost going to be $20, $10, $30? What is that cost, right? If you wanted to do a Switch 1 version of tiers, upgrade to the Switch 2 version, what are they going to charge you, right?
Exactly. If the game and they have not clarified that. Yeah.
Right. So you start thinking about these things. Could there be a hack for a while where you say, hey, if the upgrade's only $10 and I can buy the Switch 1 version for $60, do I just buy that and get the upgrade? Right. These things exist. This, by the way, happened with PlayStation, right? When PS4 to 5, they had games where it was $60. And they said, hey, it'll be free upgrade to the PS5 version. And then there was the controversy with Horizon Forbidden West, where they weren't honoring that, and they pushed back, and then they eventually caved and said, but that's it, we're not doing it after that. Right. So, but that was the way. So you got away with it. You bought the PS4 version and free upgrade to the PS5 version, right? And that kind of thing could still happen here. We will see how this pans out. I still don't know what the full costs are, right? So we don't know what the digital store is going to look like. We don't have enough information yet. So once we start getting through that, look, if they start charging every one of their major first party games at $80, that's going to be pretty interesting to tackle. Because then you have to say, well, why doesn't Intergalactic charge $80? Because they probably should, right? It's much higher budget, right? I'm sure these games don't cost as much as that game is going to cost in production, right? So it's not a bad thought, right? From their perspective. Question is, will it work? The beauty for us is, of course, if Xbox decides, hey, you know what? The next Call of Duty is going to be $80. I don't care. It's in Game Pass. I don't care. For me, the problem is solved. I don't even bother. It's just I download my game. But that's not an excuse, because people will buy it, right? And for them, it's going to suck. But this is a thing that they have to kind of test. At what point will people say, nah, I'm good? right? And what games will they say, nah, I'm good? And that has been happening. As you put it at $70, some games, it's like, yeah, if that was like 40, I might have bought it, but at 70, right? And that's happening. So we'll see how this plays out, right? The fact that the tour of Switch 2 game is something you have to pay for. I don't know what the cost is. I don't know what they're going to charge. That's just bogus. I don't know what they're thinking there. They really should have just bundled that in. But if they charge $80 for that, I don't think anybody's gonna buy that thing. It just seems like a waste. But either way, whatever. So this is gonna be a fun one to keep going on, right? The $70 ones, I get it, right? So all the third-party ones, $70, that's what they're charging, unless they charge less by default, right? So that's kind of how that's going. But the Nintendo games, we'll see, right? You still have Donkey Kong coming out. That's a major game at 70. So I don't know why they think Mario Party Jamboree should be 80. That's an odd one. But, hey.
Again, this is one of those conversations that, it's very, very complex. And I know that we don't normally do the politics thing, because politics is disgusting and filthy. But I do have to give Shinobi602 a shout out, because he did just post this right before we went live. And again, there's been a lot of conversation in private DMs as well as the gaming community as tariffs being a driving point for these prices. Now, there are a lot of people, Hargeet, that say no, absolutely not. Well, according to Bloomberg, and I'm going to read verbatim. Okay, I want this to be clear. I'm not paraphrasing this. This is literally from what Shinobi602 had to say. He says, just announced, the U.S. Will tariff products from Vietnam at 46% rate, could heavily impact Switch 2 pricing, possibly globally. And here's why. According to the Bloomberg.com article, Nintendo shifted Switch 2 productions from China to Vietnam/Cambodia to avoid the tariffs. Others included the 34% tariffs on China, 49% tariffs on Cambodia, 24% on Japan, and the 20% on the EU, and more. Now, obviously, we're not going to get any further into just reading those numbers, because we don't do politics here. It's a big no-no. But do you and again, this is just an honest question, Hargeet, do you think this pricing of the games, of the console specifically, because it is a piece of hardware, was foretold by Nintendo looking into the future, and was like, yeah, we're going to get tariffed. We have to put this course onto the buyers? And second part of the question is, and this is where this gets a bit speculative, if you will. There are a lot of people, and I, you know what? I have it here. Let me just find it, because Colt Eastwood did a poll, and I believe I sent it to myself over here. So Colt Eastwood did a poll, and it has almost 4,000 replies. Like votes. Are you getting a Nintendo Switch 2 ASAP? 25.5%, and I'm one of them, said yes. Nearly 75% of 4,000 people said no. Do you think the sale of the and again, it's a two-tiered question. Do you think that the Switch 2 sales are incredibly slow out of the gate?
So first, on the tariffs thing, I don't think they accounted for tariffs in the price. I think the price is what it is. And this might change that. We'll see, right? I don't know if they're going to fix that or not, right? Maybe it does have to go up, but right now, it may not be something they can really change. But they might have to do something about production and move things around. That's for them to figure out. If the countries figure out a way to change the tariffs that they charge on U.S. companies in the U.S., and like those countries finally change their tariffs on us, maybe that gets resolved, right? That's a whole other geopolitical headache, but I don't think they really did. I think this is really just, that is the cost. That's what it takes to make one of these things. So they're just charging what they would normally have charged. As far as sales, a Colt Eastwood audience is very pro Xbox. You just have to kind of keep that in mind, right? So it's gonna shift towards PC, Xbox type players, potentially even PlayStation players, right? I don't think there's a heavy leaning of Nintendo players that are focused on Colt Eastwood. That's my guess, right? So
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
So I would expect that kind of a result. Colt himself is not really a Switch or a Nintendo guy. He has them, right? But his kids play them. But he's like, I just don't find their games fun, and that's fair. It is
Right.
what it is, right? So there's a lot of people that are going to be following him that are going to fall in that same category. I'm sure a lot of your audience doesn't care about it either, right? But there are some that will, right? And so that's kind of the way it is. If you ask Nintendo fans, are you interested? And we would find out what their answer is. I'm sure the poll would be very, very different, right?
Yeah.
So, if you ask Nintendo fans, was that a good showcase? I'm sure they would say, yeah, it was, right? You were pretty happy with it, Boom, because like it's showing you the games that you wanted to see, right? Except for the Mario game. We're all expecting that one, right? And, barring this thing with price, I like if it came in at $400 or $300, it would have been a different story, I guess. I don't know. If it was $400, $50 less, that somehow makes it more palatable, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know why that is, but I just expect technology to kind of get more expensive. It is what it is, right? We keep expecting things to go this way, but that's not realistic. The way that happens is slave labor in other countries. Sorry, we've kind of already done that. That's kind of getting to be a problem. You kind of have to expect things always go up in price. That's just the way it goes. Inflation keeps pushing things up. So I was not like surprised by this. My expectations was 400 to 500 in that range. I was hoping it was 4, but 450 would have been fine. 500 would have been fine. I'm not averse to that. Like KS90, we were talking about this, right? I think it was on this show, right? That like, don't expect that it won't potentially cost $500. I was like, yeah, that is a viable thing.
Right? And here we are, $500. Yep.
Right. So it's 450. That's reasonable. I don't think that's unreasonable for what they're giving you. It is what it is. So you have to accept that that's the world we're in. Will it sell? This just comes down to how enticed you are to play the games that are on it, right? And if you want a portable that does all these things, it has some features that make it compelling. So it's up to the consumer. There was a Zelda game with Switch that was available on Wii U, but the install base of Wii U was pathetic, right? And so people decided, hey, I'm going to just buy the Switch version and then get a Switch. And that was why you ended up with more people buying the version of the game and not even have the console because they were waiting to get the console. The supply is available. Apparently, we'll see. Right? It's supposedly a lot.
The rumor is 20 million at launch, is what they're saying.
Have already been created, right? So hopefully it'll do well, and as far as availability. But who knows, right? If people pick it up or not, that is a consumer choice. I still think there's plenty of people who will. It is Nintendo's still Nintendo, and they still have games that are pretty cool, right? So you'd want to be able to play those games. Now, if they're cross-gen, all of them, then that would be one thing. They aren't all cross-gen. There are some that are going to be exclusive to the Switch 2. So I think people will still pick it up. Now, you say that it's very expensive. Gaming is expensive, and I'm not trying to be a proponent of increased prices. I'm just saying that, look, this is not exactly bread and butter. This is not eggs. This is not like your sustenance. This is fun. If you can't afford it, that's fine. There are other ways to go do things that are more entertaining. That's fine, right? Like you have to just deal with that reality. There are billions on this planet who don't even have electricity. We are able to enjoy gaming. You just put that in perspective. If you think $10 more for a game is going to kill you, then don't buy. I'm all for that. Don't buy. That's fine. Right. That's a good way to tell people that that's too much. If $50 more for the console is too much for you, don't buy it. That's really the answer. But I don't think that parents who sit there and say, I want my kids to play Mario Kart, are going to say, nope, I'm not buying it because it's $50 more. Does anybody remember the craze of the stupid dolls that people had to buy for Christmas?
Yeah, with the people fighting and beating each other's asses.
You'd pay these exorbitant prices just so your kid would have a stupid toy at Christmas. Remember that? Okay, this is the world. This is the world, right? It just is what it is. $50 ain't gonna be the thing. How many people paid $1,000 for a PlayStation 5 from scalpers? How many paid more?
A lot of people did. Yep.
It is what it is. It is what it is. this is the world we're in. I can't like change that. But if you don't want to, engage with that, have all the gusto and say no. And when your kid asks you for one of these, say, get out of here. I'm never buying that thing, to their face. Go ahead. I'd be happy to see it. Please put it on video and then put it up on YouTube, and we can see you saying that, because what you're really going to say is, fine, I'll go get it. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen, right? Yeah. That's the way it is, right?
So you're saying they'll be blackmailed into compliance?
It is what it is. It is what it is. Tell me that's not going to happen. It's exactly what's going to happen. Like, Boom, are you not going to get one for your nephew?
No, as a matter of fact, we were talking today, and he knows he's getting one from me. So it
is what it is, right? So hey, this is the world. Like, if you don't want to, like, and you should fully expect, by the way, the next generation Xbox and PlayStation,
they're going to be $800
expensive.
Yeah, they're going to be $800. They're
going to be much more expensive.
$799.99 for the next Xbox.
Just expect it. Yeah, it might be, right? Yeah. What Phil said, $1,000 seems too much. Remember he said that? $1,000 seems too much.
But $899,
not anymore. Yeah,
$899 is okay. It's not $1,000, so he's not lying.
The chat has me rolling. By the way, they're like, "Get a job, kid. Go cut your grass, boy.
Yeah, go take out the garbage. Go collect cans.
Right?
Go.
I'm not advocating for this. I'm not advocating for this. I'm just saying it's the world, and like, if you really don't want it, 100%, don't buy it.
Don't buy it. Yeah.
Don't engage. Right. That's the message you need to send. Don't engage. But my guess is you're going to engage anyway, and people are going to buy this, and it's going to sell out.
Hargeet Chani says, go get a job, you dirty schlub.
First of all, let's welcome in Kay Asante.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
this is Umbra.
Yeah, right. This is a luxury item, and it is what it is, right?
So Kay Asante, welcome back, brother. Hargeet and I have been entertaining the masses. I think that there was a sticker shock today with the console being $450. I think there was a lot of people that thought it was going to come in at $4. And I'm with Hargeet. I don't see what the big deal is for $50. I just don't. And I'm not being like facetious, folks. And then the $500 version comes with a game that is $80. So you're saving $30.
Umbra knows what I'm about to do. I'm about to get real messy, because I told everybody this is going to be $450. There is a Discord that we frequent where this has been a topic of contention for some time now, and the needs are all mine, because I was the one that was on 10 toes down that it was going to be $450. Why? Because they've never gone to $450 before. I don't think they've ever gone $499, $399 before.
Are you here to collect kneecaps today? Okay.
Oh no. I'm just being messy, because that's what I am doing right now. That's what I'm doing. That's that's who I am right now. That's where I live right now, because I was right, and y'all know I was right. And if you didn't know, I'm telling you, I was right. Anyway,
he said, I was born into this.
Beyond that, though, honestly, I want a chance to watch the whole thing again. I want to see the proceedings again. Okay. Are we giving scores? Are we giving reviews?
I mean, we can give a score, before we get on out of here. Look, I'm not going to front. I already gave it a 10 out of 10, and not because of pricing. I gave it a 10 out of 10 because I'm a big Nintendo nerd.
Sure.
I saw games I'm really excited for.
See, but okay, so you guys already know. You already heard from me. You've heard from me many times. I call it the Abacus. At least I called the last gen one the Abacus. So y'all know that my boot is usually on their neck. I get that, right? So you probably expect some shade from me, but I will tell you, I like what I saw. I like a lot of what I saw. Okay. My only concern, right? I like that before I even go to the concern part, I like that me and Boom, 20 minutes before the show started, I was like, Boom, I want them to come. I don't care about a single game. I want them to come out and I want them to go, guess what? We have discovered this magical theory called achievements. Ooh, look at this. We've discovered this magical land called chat. Did I not say this, Boom? I said that. 20 minutes before the show, I was like, Boom, all they got to do is like claw their way into the modern era and just be normal like anybody other on the other platform. And I'll think that was a W. And now they didn't go all whole hog in that direction, but they went far enough and they did it their way, and it looks like they've gotten all the letters that we've been sending. So that's at least a plus, right? So there's that, right? To be absolutely honest, I'm very worried about the world of DRM and this last beachhead that was Nintendo, that people thought that they had with physical cartridges. Now that those physical cartridges are basically DRM devices themselves now too, based on the new reports, that has me worried. But my main concern is, we know historically that what Nintendo puts out is something that they put forth for the next 7 to 10 years, right? What I saw as far as games, while super fun, and I'm like, yo, Donkey Kong day one. I'm like, Mario Kart, shoot, my kids are beating me at it right now. I haven't even started to play, but they're beating me at it, right? But the games they are showing me right now, will this system have a lot in the tank in 5 years? Because Switch had a lot in the tank in like 5 years, right? And then it took till about 7 years before it started getting long in the tooth. And this does not look like Switch 2 to me. This looks like Switch Pro to me. And it makes me wonder what that 7-year cycle looks like. Is this going to be a shorter life cycle? Are we going to see newer hardware sooner than later? I doubt that, right? I would think that they would want you to think that this is the next 7 years. This is the next Switch. And the hardware looks awesome, but the software they showed me looks like PS5 to PS5 Pro, not PS5 to PS6. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's a fair criticism. But the one thing we do have to say, I mean, to be fair, is look what they've done with cell phone technology that was already outdated.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So again, yes, it didn't run at 120 frames.
Sure. Yes. But hey, and we could be slanderous all day. If you want me to keep going in my slanderous bag, I can go. Why the hell did they go and take all the what do you call it, the cameras that came out of the StarTAC 95 and put them in the thing? Like, this is ridiculous, and then charge you $100 for that? Like, bananas. There are phones that people will throw at you because they hate you that have better megapixels than that thing. Like, what is wrong with you? Anyway, but that's neither here nor there. I can keep going. But needless to say, I have to say,
phones that they don't care.
I mean, seriously, there are Android phones that people hate to give you that have better megapixels than what they tried to sell you for $100. Like, what is wrong with you people? Anyway. But I'm sure, of course, this is Nintendo. They will make it work. It'll be beautiful. Fantastic, right? All I want is, and let's be absolutely clear. I am buying like 2 or 3 of these things. Let's keep it a buck, all right? Because frankly, the first gen is usually the gen that's the most susceptible to interesting things. We're moving quite along, but needless to say, my kids want one. My wifey, we're all going to get one in the house. It's going to be amazing. So we want one, right? I just want to make sure that as the Switch 1 was a really good investment, as everybody knows, right, up until now, will that Switch 2 have the same long tail? Based on the hardware not the hardware necessarily, but the games they showed me today, I'm like, yo, this looks cool, but will it really run Cyberpunk? Or are we talking another impossible port situation? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's going to run Elden Ring, and again, that's what they say.
Yeah. True. And you know what?
Impressive though. Now,
but you know what? Honestly, Umbra, I gotta say, I will actually give them credit for all of that, because they were running. They're running that Elden Ring. They were running the new version, the new FromSoft game. Even their game chat that they were showing off had some rough edges, and they showed it all.
Right? Well, when they were showing the gameplay, it looked like it was running at 3 frames a second. You know,
you know what I'm saying?
Like chat goes to what you just said.
How many shows? How many times have you seen a show where they're literally like reading that cue card that makes it sound like they're in a real game?
I hate when they do that.
And then you see their screens and you clearly know that screen is CG and they've kind of doctored the screen and it says not representative of actual footage.
You know who does that terribly? Ubisoft.
Who does that? Exactly, right?
Terrible. Yeah.
Remember for the divisions, they'll have them doing that. It'll be like, coming around the back. It's like, all right, you all don't talk like that. Stop.
It happens over and over and over again, right? So I'm very happy that what they showed here was at least what is probably you're going to get, right? Which has some warts. You saw a bit of it. It was a little compressed here and there, but they're on the right foot, right? They're on the right foot. They're heading in the right direction. I just want that hardware to have some oomph. Hopefully, like we get a bit more information about what's in the tank, and then hey, this thing's gonna last you. I think this is great. I was worried about Nintendo leaning too heavily in the conservative direction because they're afraid of what happened to Wii U, but this has me excited because they didn't lean. Yes, they did in certain ways, but their creativity still shines and the games look still great. So that's what we're there for. So while I do have a concern about what this thing looks like in 2030, right? Today, it's still great. Next year, it'll be great. In 2 years from now, it'll be really awesome. So I'm excited for it. If I had to give it a score, I would say like my score, because of that hardware concern, I'd probably give it like a 7.5, like something like that. We'll see. Donkey Kong, the new Donkey Kong game, day one, I'm there. Like
that looks so
3D,
good,
3D Donkey Kong. Come on, it's a wrap. It's over. It's great.
I know Destin Legary said did a poll with did you like Donkey Kong and why'd they give him pants? A lot of people picked why'd they give him pants. Because it is what it is. But listen, Tariffed Umbra, I want to bring you in, sir. I want to get your hot take on it. We got 600 people here live in the chat. I just want to catch up on Super Chat. It's been quite a few of them, and then obviously we'll kind of give our scores. And we'll have some more conversation. But Valiant Tempest drops a very generous $10 super chat. And Valiant says, I think the most frustrating part is that we know when prices go up for our main way to play via Xbox / PlayStation / Steam, whatever, but now we are paying skyrocketing prices for 2+ consoles. It's stupid. And again, it's one of those things. I think this and what do I know, right? Like there's a generation happening in 2 years, right? It's not 26, it's 27. The rumor is PlayStation could be 28 or 29. We will see, whether they fast track it or not. I'll tell you this, Tempest. I really think that this is going to be the cheapest you see for consoles ever moving forward. Like I really believe the next Xbox is going to be $700 at the minimum. I think that the next PlayStation, right now, it's $700. Could you imagine a PlayStation 6? $899.99. It's going to be $900 box. And people are going to pay it. People are going to line up at midnight to pay it and take it home and play it. I just think that the days, and Hargeet has said this, Kasante has said this, I've said this, the days of these companies taking L's for their hardware to sell you software is done. They're just not going to do it. But brother, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the generosity. We have Dwayne Colavito drops a very generous $5 super chat. So Dwayne, welcome, brother. Thanks so much for the generosity. He says, I'm not sure why the pricing is an issue. What do you think the next gen PS6 games and so on will cost? Games will only get more expensive. Dwayne is 100% right. Hargeet, you literally alluded to that just before. Quick Gameplay drops a very generous $5 super chat. And Quick goes on to say, with these high prices, Game Pass looks even better. This will hurt Nintendo's third-party game sales big time. This opens a path for Xbox's next-gen console. Now, here's the thing. Quick, tune in Friday morning for Breakfast at Boom, because like I said, I'm writing an original topic and Korkenstein is going to lead the conversation because he did a really great tweet. I think that these prices are going to potentially funnel people to Xbox, more specifically Xbox Game Pass. I think that there is definitely a route that people are going to see. People are going to, and again, it's not going to start and end with Nintendo's $80 games. It's not. 2K, EA, and all of these publishers are going to start charging this generation $80 games. They're going to go up. There's no doubt about it. Sony is whatever they put out next. And get ready, folks. Get ready. I'm not saying I have this on good authority. This is just an opinion. Ghost of Yotai might be $79.99. I'm just saying it could be their first $80 game. And
I don't think they would do that with Ghost of Yotei. I think they'll wait for a big
We'll
player
see.
like
We'll
GTA to do it
it's
first.
Sony. I don't trust that. There's some sly cats over there, but you know, we again, we'll see. But Dwayne Colavito drops an additional very generous $10 super chat and says, "This is Nintendo, regardless of the price. Nintendo will still do great regardless. If you don't want to pay $80, then don't buy. Nintendo is still flourishing regardless." And Argy also alluded to that. People are going to buy the console. I'm buying the console. I'm in for 2. I originally was in for 3, but Mrs. Boom was like, "Yeah, I'll wait for the Animal Crossing Special Edition. That's her favorite game of all time. She's going to wait for that, and that's when we'll get her a Switch 2. Until then, she's going to hold on to her Special Edition Animal Crossing console that she has. She loves it. So I thought it was 3. It's 2. It's for me and Tyler. And yes, I'm buying both. And yes, we're getting the Mario Kart Edition that comes with the game. And every game that I buy for me, I buy for him. So everything that comes out is times 2. Donkey Kong will be times 2. You name it. Kirby Air Ride is going to be times 2 because that's what Theos do, and that's what I'm going to do for that kid. He's awesome.
You can game share though, can't you, Boom?
Was that? Yeah, you can game share. You absolutely can game share up to 4 people. But you know, again, it's he wants his game, I want my game, and that's just the way it is. That's fine. Brett Bingham has been a channel member for 2 whopping years. Brother, thank you so much, Brett. He says, "I got news for you. That $449 price tag is before tariffs, $657 with tariffs before your normal local sales tax. That's just bonkers. Let's hope it doesn't get to that." He says, additional $2 super chat. He says, "Thanks to tariffs, the Switch 2 equals the Wii U." Hey, the Black Viking, brother. Man. It's so great to see you in the chat. So, dude, we miss you here. Hopefully you and the family are doing well. You know, you got a big move. Congratulations on your giant W, brother. It's well deserved. You are one of the community's absolute finest. Love to see the W's. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Soon we will be able to podcast via Nintendo's Teams at 3 frames per second." He's not wrong. And lastly, "Do you, K Now, the Broke Boy Insider," drops a very generous $5 super chat. Will, great to see you here. Awesome pictures from Comic-Con. Holy cow, he took pictures with some of the most, if you're a nerd, and I think we're all nerds here, at least I am for sure. All the pictures were incredible. He says, "Has anyone brought up the Nintendo Direct? They said Hollow Knight Silk Song in 2025. I think we've known for some time this year, but kind of a confirmation." Yeah, I mean, there was some talk that we could see that very soon. And again, you got to remember, folks, I keep saying, and I got a phone call literally when we went live. I couldn't take it, but I have some information coming in on what I believe to be a confirmation of a partner event. I don't know exactly when, because remember, the partner events for Xbox usually happen in March. If you go back a couple of Marches, it's always happened in March. It was delayed. I don't know why it was delayed. I'm trying to find out if they either delayed it or they canceled it, but we will see. I'm waiting on that information. And if that does happen, I know a lot of people were in their feelings about Final Fantasy VII being announced for Nintendo Switch 2 first before Xbox. And everyone's like, "Oh, it's a big L for Xbox." It's actually not. The reason why it hasn't been announced is because their partner event was delayed. That partner event that I'm talking about is probably going to levy Final Fantasy VII and potentially Final Fantasy 16 coming to Xbox, whether that be in Game Pass or to buy, I don't know. And Silk Song could also be one of those games that shows up. Hey, boom, Silk Song, it's there. Download it today, play, go crazy. And that could be also something that happens at this partner event. As soon as I get the information, folks, I will put it out there. And lastly, we have BT Maverick 707 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Where's Everborn Saga? Charge them more t-shirts when you need them." I mean, he holds on to them. If he was here, he would probably sell you a shirt for sure. Lastly, Alvin drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Remember when 70 games were the end of gaming? Neither do I. No matter the economy, Jordans always fly off the shelves. So will Switch 2's games." And Alvin is 1,000% right. But listen, let's bring in Tariffed Umbra What are your thoughts over here, brother? Like, of the pricing, is it bothersome to you? Are you getting a Switch 2? Do you care? Because you're Mr. PC, so.
Yeah, I'm so stressed out. Boom, I had to split some of the tariff price with Hargeet and Forte just a second ago. Hargeet, I'm gonna need some relief from you, brother. I'm gonna need some help.
Hey,
I'm trying to GoFundMe. These prices are going to get outrageous. I mean,
I put $700 to the side earlier this year. So,
you ready?
I bet I had my gift card literally back in October, just saving money on it. So
I have $550 of GameStop gift cards sitting right here. It's literally waiting to be spent. When I
upgraded my daughter to her Series X, I trade because I had 2 Series X's in the basement, one on my PC and then one on my main TV. My daughter had a Series S. So when I got rid of one of my Series S's, I traded one in, my Series X in, I traded her Series S in and gave her my other Series X. And then it's been sitting on store credit forever. I was like, guess what? I'm not having to pay for this.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
You got the cheat code. I mean, the thing is like some of the things, the concerns are definitely real. I don't want to dismiss any of that. I think we get too comfortable with that. And it's often that we get comfortable like, oh, that won't happen to us until it's happening to us, right? Oh, that won't matter. So this won't do this. And, oh, no, that won't happen. We don't know what will lead to what. And these are trying times. I don't want to underplay that. You know what I mean? So I think people are feeling right to feel the way they do. And yes, gaming is an expensive hobby, but the world changes and our prices, or at least our cost of living hasn't gone down. So we continue to struggle trying to take care of just everyday life. So doing something, that gaming is the luxury part, having that on and trying to take that on too can be problematic. The thing is though, everybody is absolutely right about these Switches and that they're going to sell off. So that's the problem, right? So like, even though we're saying all that, I'm still getting one. This will be my first Switch, by the way. I never got the first one. My family had or friends had, and I played off theirs, but I never bought one myself. I will get this one since it's kind of at least somewhat modern and it's not
kind of modern.
Back 20 years back.
See, this is where they're getting you at. They say, "Oh, you ain't want to come in when it was $300, but we gonna get our money."
Now we got you at $5. Take that, sucker.
Exactly. I'm leaving here with something.
Right.
I'm leaving here with something.
You had pads on when you came here. I don't know if you're gonna have them when you leave.
Now, Umbra, the question is, Umbra, are we talking about an 8-track player or a CD player? What are the two? Where are we? We're definitely not in Abacus territory. We shall see.
It might just be approaching CD right now for them. Yeah, this is a CD era, I guess.
Oh man.
Hey, but I mean, it's a lot of thoughts I got on this. The whole tariff thing is confusing because we don't know enough yet to see if it is what some people have spoke to. Because Sirkin Toto of Kenton Games, he told Reuters that the price tag for the Switch 2 was higher than expected, and that's likely because Nintendo priced it higher to buffer because of the tariffs. They knew it was happening. I mean,
I said that. We said that in a DM. We said that they were forecasting the future of the tariffs, and again, whether it's true, whether it's not, it's still something to be considered. And again, Reuters as well as Bloomberg are reporting. These are the places that are reporting this.
Yeah,
it's not like we made it up.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I mean, the Nintendo, there was a whole bunch of discussion earlier, as you saw, Boom. So I can't say that Nintendo is not just being Nintendo and also being greedy.
True.
But, it's just, it's too much of a coincidence for me to see the price go up like that. $150 increase from what they had from the release of the first Switch. Probably would have launched at 400, I'm thinking. But the price over for the tariffs, they put it 50 more. That's my guess. I don't think it's breaking the bank, especially I can't. How stupid would I look to argue that when I got a 4080 Super and all that and all, all these handhelds. I got a handheld. Like I would sound stupid to be like, oh, that's too much for me. I can't argue that, but I understand it for those who are not, PC gaming and buying all these different things. They're like, hell no, I can't be, supplemental device too. And that's the thing for me. So just kind of getting back to the whole reveal and I guess the showcase.
So one thing I'll add, Umbra, is if
Yeah.
that was the case, then the entire pricing structure for the rest of the world will be cheaper. It is not.
For sure. For
So
sure.
The tariffs are only for stuff coming to the US.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's why I say, like, I think they I guess, you know, what's the word I want to use here? They put it there to protect themselves. They also use it possibly for their benefit too. Like,
Of course, it's
tariffs did it.
Nintendo. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So it, you know, I can't say one way or another, and I'm not going to try to talk like I'm some authority on it because I'm not. But I guess for the showcase, my thoughts are we had a whole big discussion on this in the GCP Discord. If you all have not been a part of that, rather, you should check it out. It's chaotic. People get their knees taken daily. It's just something. They argue that I got mine taken today, but I was like, nah, I disagree. But anyway.
I disagree.
So we watched this show, and there were some things that looked cool. There were some things I didn't care about, like Donkey Kong, like Case pointed out. That looked really good. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely going to play that. And then I saw, like, you know, Elden Ring, and it's like, I'm never ever wasting my time to play that on this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it looked even shoddy on that. Like, so no, I'm not doing that. I beat it. I got it on.
Yeah, you're not going to go
my
play
Xbox.
Cyberpunk on the Switch 2 when you have a 4090.
Come on.
You're just not going to do that. No.
Case says, I mean, if you want to torture yourself, but I'm not doing
People
that.
do it. Hey, people did it for 8 years on the Switch.
Yeah, and listen, people will suffer. I guess.
I'm just saying. You know,
Suffering is art.
There is a premium on handheld gaming on the go. You kind of throw out a lot of those sensibilities when you have something that you can take with you and still enjoy the games you like to play.
I suppose, but then you got alternatives. So we got the Steam Deck. We have the
ROG Ally.
We got K favorite.
Yeah, but those don't play. Those don't play Mario Kart World.
That is
legally,
true.
Sure they do.
legally.
Hey, sure they do.
Legally.
Hey,
legally.
okay, there you go. I was gonna say
legally.
Sure they do. I was gonna say I played plenty of Nintendo games.
I mean, listen. I played Tears of the Kingdom on a 4090, and it was fabulous.
Yeah, let me stop before we get caught because they will come after us. Nintendo, I would never.
Oh no, I own the game. You know, they don't care as long as you can produce a physical product. They don't care.
I'm gonna move off this subject because I'm gonna let you say that last part and move on.
Hey, listen, I own those products. So I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, our matey. That's all I'll say to that. But that said, yeah, like some of the stuff, okay, was cool. I for me, I wasn't really blown away by anything, and I think that's the thing. Like I love Nintendo, right? Their place in gaming. I love what they've brought to gaming. I would say this though, they didn't really innovate anything here. And that's the thing that kind of surprised me, right? Like you would typically when Nintendo was like, oh, this new innovation of this. We didn't get that here. There was nothing innovative, there was nothing new, there was nothing that was, you know, that changed any status quo of anything. So that's the thing that took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting some crazy jump in visuals for anything like that, though the games, at least first party, looked really good. I was somewhat surprised by the blood. Is it the one by FromSoft?
Yes,
I was surprised by that.
Basically, Bloodborne 2.
Exclusive too. And Kay called it right as it was happening. Somebody was like, "This is not exclusive," and then sure enough. So that looked good. Mario Kart World looks excellent. I like that it's open world. I don't
have
like
like a Forza mode to it. Hello, thank you.
Yes, do not like that price though, because that just sets a bet. This is the thing for me. The console is not a problem. The price for the console, the game price is the problem, because that's going to incentivize others to say,
oh no, dude, the $80 price point I said has kicked open the door. That is going to everyone's going to go $80.
That's the problem. They're going to go 100, right? And that's been analysts have been calling that. You can see, I can see Rockstar being, you know, in 2K games, whatever, being thirsty, foaming at the mouth right now, ready to charge that for GTA. And the bad part is they'll get it. That's the bad part. And then you're going to have people follow after that. I know Sony's going to do it after the fact, you know. I still blame Sony for the $70 increase largely. So that's the thing that worries me more than anything else. The console price is not, that doesn't bother me. And again, I do have the more the luxury of being able to afford this stuff. So that doesn't bother me. The game prices do. And still too, this is another thing. It's kind of like a value thing in your head, right? Because you're like, I got to pay $80 plus tax for
$84.79, baby. Let's
for
go.
PS3 level visuals and stuff. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of troublesome to me a little bit. It's just a little bit.
I mean,
it kind of upsets my soul a little bit. Like I'm paying this premium for this, you know.
Hey, Hey, $74.59 for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
And that's the crazy part too. How long are they going to milk that? We get on Sony about their remaster plan, but how long are we going to let Nintendo keep getting away with this? They already got over with people with cardboards. I keep bringing this up. I had this whole discussion with people earlier. They were like, well, I said, listen, if Microsoft showed this showcase like this and showed you a bunch of old games and said, oh, you get to play these old games again, and showed you like 3 or 4 new games, you all would destroy them, and you know it. And they were like, no, I wouldn't do it. I said, you all bought off cardboards. If Microsoft offered a cardboard, you would destroy that company like people are destroying Tesla factories and stuff now. Like, stop it. So, like this thing, I think that's so silly to hear that argument. So they'll get away with that, and that's the problem because they are Nintendo. Going back to the beginning of the discussion, I'm not mad at the console price. The price of the games, though, is problematic, and for a few reasons. Everything else, like I said, they showed didn't wow me too much. I would say Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment looks cool. I did play the previous one on PC. And I played it through other means. Donkey Kong Bonanza looks good. Mario Kart World looks really fun. I think we're gonna have to have some GCP playthroughs of that. K, all of us jumping in.
Oh yeah,
that'd be fun. That'd be dope because you have up to 24 people racing at once.
Absolutely,
that's freaking awesome.
Blue, watch out for that blue shell because it's coming. And the Dust Bloods looks decent. I don't care that it's for it being PvPvE. I don't know, but and it's kind of like the new Night Rain version of
that's exactly.
So I'm kind of like but other than that, it looked okay. I was but other than that, man, I mean, like for me, I came away with a 7 out of 10 for the show, and that was me being kind of generous.
Fair. Like I said,
I can tell you right now, Danny ain't gonna be that generous.
I'm looking forward to it because remember, he already says that Nintendo players like me are cavemen.
Yeah,
with their poo. So he loves talking about that.
He wrote in our chat earlier, right, with where I shared we share links and information for news and stuff like that to talk about. He wrote in there. Let me see. He wrote.
He gets very angry.
You got me effed up if you think I'm spending 80 to 90 on Mario.
It's listen, Umbra, great points all around as always. And it's again, folks, what we're talking about. Do not forget to tune into the Fix 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we'll get more into that on the back end. Listen, we have one of the founding fathers here, Gaming Forte. This is my brother. I love this man. Great to have you back here. Let's get your hot take on this because again, you are always around the corner because you obviously work for a video game company, and you always you get the information ahead of time. What were you most surprised about? Was it the game prices being $80?
Yeah. Well, to contrary to believe, I did not know the price of this system.
Right. No one did.
No one knew it. I was just one of those smart people that, if you use logic and deduction that knew this was going to come in. If they did one SKU, it was going to be $449. If they did 2, it was going to be $500 and $449.
Logic is the name of his insider that told him. He says, if you use logic,
you lose logic. Well, because the biggest thing, okay, so let's just talk about the system prices stuff. They have an OLED that's still out there, and they're not dropping the price of that OLED. You're not going to bring a system in $50 more than an OLED. You're not really showing it's like, yes, for a value proposition, it looks good, but then it doesn't look like it's enough features being shown for that price point, and people are going to be like, well, it's only $50 more. How much better could it be? So they're kind of in a rock and a hard place right there. So with all the stuff that they're adding, you start thinking about the dock having, a fan and everything, being able to upscale to 4K. You got the C button that gives you the ability to play with a mouse and everything. And then, game sharing, all this stuff. They kind of added up into features where I was like, minimum, this thing has to be $100 more than a Switch OLED. So that's where the $449 came at. And then it just really came down to, are they going to bundle a game with it? If they are, they have shown that they're willing to give you the game for free. They did that with Mario Kart all the way through the Switch generation. Every time they came up with a Mario Kart bundle, it pretty much is a pack-in with the game.
Right.
This being a new game, I was like, there's no way they're going to do that. They're going to literally charge people for this game. So that's kind of where the $500. So that's where that is. Now, the only thing that really shocked me about this, well, 2 things. The fact that they got a SquareSoft game for free, they got an exclusive on that.
When I first saw it, I was like, "Is that Bloodborne 2? Am I seeing things?"
I was like, Switch is getting the Bloodborne game before we get
crazy.
a remake.
That's crazy.
So that was the first shock. But I will not lie to anybody. When we were in that, I was with the Iron Lords doing the show, and when we were live and people were saying that Tom Warren was out tweeting $80 games and $90 physical copies, I was like, oh, Nintendo done lost their mind. They done got us now. They done got us now. Because guess what? People complain. Like, I will never tell people that I would never fight the fact about paying more for games. I always say that I'd rather pay more for hardware, because when you pay more for hardware, it kind of moves the needle forward. So it's like the excuses of people saying, like, I want to have better things. Well, you need to pay for better things when it comes to like the hardware. I've always been a proponent. That's why I said PS5 Pro, $700. I wish it did more when it came to the power of the system and it gave us more of what we wanted, because I don't see a big enough difference. But I like that as a price point out there that shows that we're willing to spend $700 on something if it's worth it to you. And that's the same thing I see with this Switch. They are looking at it like, listen, if it's something that you want, we're gonna have cross compatibility for a little while. And you're going to still be able to play a lot of your older games. But if you want to, step up with the big boys, that's kind of what you're going to have to do. You have to get, if you got current games, you can, buy upgrade packs and stuff for them, and stuff like that. But Mario Kart being $80, the only thing part of me feels like, because it's only $50 if you think about it with the pack in.
Right.
Part of me feels like it's something about Mario Kart they're not telling us yet. Like maybe because this is basically, I think, in-game for Mario Kart. I don't think you will ever see another numbered Mario Kart after this. I think this is it. I think they're just going to iterate and add to this game, at least through the Switch era, like however long they go with Switch 2, Switch 3, Switch 4. You're just going to see stuff, because they were already doing that with Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 is old as dirt. It was a Wii U game, and literally for the last 3 to 4 years, all they did was add expansion packs to that game. So that's what they're going to do with this. This is like literally ground zero for Mario Kart, and now we're just going to get updates to this game as a live service. So this will be their live service cherry for the rest of at least the Switch generation. I think you're going to probably get more than just Mario Kart for that $80. There's probably going to be like a season or something added to it, because in my mind, I'm thinking like, can they really charge you $80 for a digital copy of Mario Kart? But then it's Nintendo. They can kind of do it. It's the one game, like we said, the reason they picked Zelda Tears of the Kingdom as the one game they was going to put $70 is because they knew they were going to sell it. Mario Kart's the other game. Like I always tell people, Mario Kart's the reason you buy a Switch. And that's going to be why this game is going to be $90 for a physical copy. The one thing I will say is you are seeing a difference between digital and physical with Nintendo going forward. It looks like the fact that there is a difference in price, you will have to make a decision on, hey, do I want to have the physical ownership of this game? We all know Nintendo games hold really good value when you buy them physical, or do you want to save money up front and buy a digital copy? So that's going to be a really, really good point. And I do hope that other developers and publishers and even Xbox and PlayStation follow suit with that, because I feel like if we're cutting the cost of shipping games and making CD cases and jewel cases and stuff like that, you should pass that on to the consumer so they can save money on the games that they're buying, even knowing we know that this hobby is becoming more and more expensive to make games and stuff for. So for me, I think the show was awesome. I was close to giving it a 10 out of 10. I settled at a 9 because I cannot give a 10 to a company, a $1 billion company that has a live stream that crashes in the middle of it.
I know, that was so annoying. I'm like, what, is it me?
About that. It did.
What's going on?
I was like, we were sitting there watching it, and like,
I thought it was my internet that went.
We all did. And then I had both stream. I had YouTube going and I had Twitch going, and I was like, they said, "Hey, is it happening on Twitch?" I said, "No, Twitch is frozen at the same spot too." I said, "This is on Nintendo side, so I can't give a 10 to a company that literally botched the most
Messed that up.
important stream that they will have for 2025, maybe for the next 2 to 3 years. There's no other stream that's more important to this. So the fact that that happened, I have to knock you off a whole freaking point for that. But outside of that, I think they did an amazing job in showcasing the system over the course of time. I felt like the game selections. Now people are saying that they were real light in first party. The thing is, I think they were really, really short on first party. But
they had a bunch though.
No,
I don't know.
they had but not the things that people really want to see.
A lot of people were hoping for the 3D Mario, but I think that's happening in September.
Yeah, I think that's coming. Yeah, I think that's coming in September. I think this was more like everybody knows what's the biggest problem with Nintendo. We always said power and third party. The fact that we're seeing games like Madden finally coming over, I almost lost my mind when I saw a football flying through the air. I was like, yo, we're finally gonna get Madden on the Switch.
So how are you surprised by that? But you called the price and all that. That was pretty obvious.
I'm going off of we didn't get one throughout the whole Switch generation. We never saw. We saw NBA over there. We saw FIFA. We saw every sports game for the most part on a Switch, but Madden. And I was like, I know they're going to do it. I just don't know when they're going to do it. And they finally did it by showing that. So that looks like the next Madden's going to be on there, which for me gives me hope for NCAA football because that's my favorite football game. And I want that to be on there so I can do my recruiting on the go. Though they didn't say NCAA. At least I missed it if they did.
I saw the FC. I saw it Madden. I don't know.
Yeah, it was FC.
FC and Madden. So but that just gives me hope for that because I could do recruiting on the tablet. That's great. But outside of that, recruiting. I can do recruiting at work when I'm not doing anything, and I can play the game when I'm at home, and that's great. But outside of that, though, I think they did an amazing job with just the overall presentation. Other than the 5 minutes that was jacked up, and I don't know if you guys talked about it. The fact that they getting Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, we make mention of it, but that's because I had said it before. There was a partner event that was delayed. Normally it happens in March. There is one happening. I don't know exactly when this month it's happening, but that's where you're going to get Silk Song. That's when you get Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy 16 and a bunch of other announcements. I don't know why it was delayed. I'm waiting literally for that information to come in. Hopefully by the end of the evening,
I got two questions for y'all.
Yeah, go ahead.
One, for y'all, how bad does this look that Microsoft even allows this? Where it's like, I know they can't control them, but it's like you're gonna dip past us after even having a field spin side and all that. And you're not giving us the game and say, here, Nintendo.
It's a bad look. It's definitely a bad look.
I think. Okay, well, excuse me. First of all, I think Phil Spencer is very, very conscious. You always see him and, Matt Booty and Sarah Bond always congratulating PlayStation and Nintendo on their big launches and everything. So they are very conscious of making sure that everybody can eat. I don't think everybody looks that way towards them. I think they're kind of on the bottom and nobody's they don't get the same energy that they put out to other people, I don't think. Yep. But I do think the simple fact of the Switch comes out June 5th. Even if the partner event that is being rumored gets completely shuttled, which I doubt is going to happen, they're a week after their showcase is going to be like a week after the Switch 2 comes out.
Yep.
It's a couple of days after. It's on
a couple of days. Yeah.
So they're going to showcase. So they're going to showcase that game there. So I think this is more of a goodwill, like Nintendo showing off. It's not like they had a regular event. They're showing off their brand new system. So let's let them get the limelight. Let's let them talk about all the things that's coming. Because guess what? We're going to have our time to like showcase all these same games that's coming to our system, like Silk Song, Final Fantasy, and all those games are going to end up coming to Xbox at some point. I just think that Xbox being the way that they've always been, they're letting them have the limelight right now, and then they're going to get that back on the back end.
I hope so. Also, allowed to ask, how terrible do you think this game is going to run on this Switch?
Oh, I mean, that's again, and
I say that because you look at Elden Ring, and then you look at this. This is Unreal Engine, 4 or 5 for this. So I'm wondering. I know it can handle it, the specs wise. I'm pretty sure. But I heard people complaining about this on PlayStation, talking about it's blurry, final blur, and all that.
Do you think that people play Hogwarts Legacy on the Switch because they wanted to play? They enjoyed the experience
They
of
just
playing.
enjoyed the
That's a
experience.
fair point.
That's
And
it.
and
That's a fair
ultimately,
point because
is,
it sold
exactly.
really
You can
well
play
on
the
the
game.
It's
Switch.
so really well on the
That's
Switch
crazy too. How terrible it was.
because
Yeah.
most people don't like. That's why I say people don't care. Like I'm a huge Zelda. Like the only reason I buy a Switch for Mario Kart and Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom
Not
was like
Mario.
no, heck no, Zelda all day.
Mario's
Oh, and
awesome too.
maybe Yoshi. Yoshi's my favorite character of all
Yoshi's
time.
pretty good.
Yoshi's my
Wow.
favorite character. He is speaking
It's
of
that tongue.
shout out,
It's that tongue action forte.
speaking of which, shout out to Nintendo for showing the first character in Mario they showed was Yoshi on
Yeah,
a
they sure did.
billboard. So
Yep.
that showed you Yoshi is
Selling
amazing.
hamburgers.
Yeah, so
the
I think-
hamburger joint. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Eating a hamburger. But I think in general, that's kind of where all this stuff is going to kind of sit. But for what you just said, it ultimately is going to keep coming back to what games really matter. The fact that they got a really, really good lineup of games that's coming third party is very promising.
Yeah.
And then wait till you start getting the games that actually come from them that's going to really, truly take advantage of what the system's going to bring in the future.
Yeah.
It's I'll put it this way. It is going to be a fun rest of the year. And again, no one's denying it, you know, with the $8. It's just not a good look.
On Xbox too.
Yeah.
Right? And all these other third-party things coming.
So much
So much
stuff.
stuff.
Well, listen.
Unfortunately, I had a different question for you. You
what's up?
mentioned the difference between physical and digital costs. So far, what we've seen is it's $80 for the physical.
Yeah.
Are you saying that it's going to be less for the digital, or
No,
is
that's
this
what
based
they
on
said.
the rumor of the 80 to 90?
No, that's what they. Oh, and that's what's been coming out. They're saying that the digital copy's 80. Well, you can only go off of what's being out there.
No, so we actually do have.
We have the
what did
pricing.
Walmart put up.
what
Walmart
did they
put up
say?
the actual prices. The physical edition of Mario Kart World is $80.
Oh, that's a W then. Okay,
Yeah,
even better.
It's $80. They're all $80. So I don't know if digital comes in $10 cheaper, or is it like standard fare, which is today
Oh,
70.
yeah.
You know, like $80 for digital, $80 for physical.
so Tom Warren jumped out the window a little too early, basically. is what
Well,
you're saying.
yeah, I mean, well, he's always on the pulse of things. Again, this story. Listen, folks, this story is going to evolve over the course of the next couple of days. Like I said, we're at the 90-minute mark, which is about an hour and a half. That's usually how we roll. Again, it's a little bit of a bigger panel. Tomorrow, don't forget, I'm doing a Ask Me Anything solo because unfortunately, Kay Asante can't be there because he's working, and of course, C Money is going to be working. But we're going to be talking. I'm going to spend about 45 minutes doing an AMA on South of Midnight. Tomorrow, the embargo lifts at 12 o'clock. I'll be able to give you my score, give you all my details. Again, 45-ish minutes. Again, DM me or respond to the tweet. I'll retweet it, and whatever questions you ask, obviously no spoilers. I'll be able to answer those questions. And there's going to be new, never before seen gameplay, but it's also going to be non-spoiler gameplay. It's just going to be some battles, it's some traversal, but it's not going to be anything that's going to spoil it. Again, 45 minutes ish tomorrow around noon. I'm going to go live, and it is a review, a podcast for South of Midnight by Compulsion Games. And also, do not forget to tune in Friday morning, Breakfast at Boom, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a lot to get into, and that's thanks to Korkenstein, a question he asked about Xbox specifically. And I think that these prices, you're going to start to see, folks, that it could funnel people towards Xbox. I know that seems like an impossible task, but it is going to happen. And these prices, along with the increase that could come the way of EA and everyone else, could push people towards Xbox simply because of Xbox Game Pass being as valuable as it is. And that's been the running trend all day on social media. As a matter of fact, it is literally trending Xbox Game Pass better. And that's because of the pricing. But I have two super chats, and we'll do outros. Brett Bingham drops a very generous $5 super chat. Brett says, Nintendo shift products to avoid tariffs. I guess Nintendo got caught in 4K. That is hilarious. You are being facetious, my friend. Quick Gameplay drops a very generous $2 super chat and says 625 USD after tariffs before tax approximately, which I hope doesn't happen because that's disgusting.
So let me just clarify something. They've already built a whole bunch of stuff and already imported it. Okay.
Yes.
So the idea that this is going to affect you this year, it's not going to. So the stock that we're gonna get this year, it's most likely
the
already
price is what
here.
it is. Yeah, it's
So
500 for
so
the one.
whatever
and
it is, it's
450.
probably stuck for the remainder of the year. That's not
Yeah.
really an issue. Going forward, they have to figure out what they want to do next.
Right.
Okay, so that is an issue that will go through the next 4 or 5 months, whatever it is. But that's geopolitics. You don't have to worry about you buying a console now. Those consoles are already in warehouses in the US already.
Yes,
so
they're
that's all set.
They're done.
So don't worry about it.
Yeah, and we will definitely see. But listen, folks, thank you so much. We had over 630 people here watching live across Twitch, X, and of course YouTube. A big thank you to everyone that took the time to show up and hang out with us. Big thank you to the panel. Everyone showed up big, had big opinions. It was awesome. A lot of surprise guests here today. Shout out to you, Black Ronin. I didn't get a chance to welcome in Black Ronin 357, good friend of the program. But listen, let's get everyone out of here. Hargeet, we'll start first with you, brother. Folks, if you didn't know, he wrote a book last year called Emergence. And if you like games like Mass Effect, you're probably going to dig this book. Hargeet, tell everyone where they can potentially pay for and buy the book. No pirates here. And of course, where they can subscribe to your YouTube channel, which you do have one. And what other shows are you on, sir?
Sure. First,
Let's go.
Let's have fun, guys. Instead of all the down like things and the racing crap. Yeah.
Let's go apply for a loan.
Yes. So yeah, my book, if you want to pick it up, shop.chani.us. You can subscribe to my channel, HargeetChani1. I actually dropped a video today on my initial thoughts on the
nice
Nintendo show. Nice. But yeah, so check that out. And then I will be on with C Money and Doodle, assuming they're not in some other thing on Friday at 8-ish p.m. US Eastern Time, and that will be On Point for Gamers. And then on Saturday with Fonz, and that's Fonz Gaming. Check that out, 6 p.m. US Eastern Time on Saturday, and then 7 p.m. US Eastern Time on Sunday with Web Dave. So check those out, and we'll be back next week. I don't know what fun we'll have next week.
Yeah, well, listen, we're always looking for the next big story, but appreciate you being here, brother. Kay Asante, let's sell the brand, brother. Where could people? I would imagine that this Saturday, this is going to be one heck of a conversation with you and Everborn and whoever else decides to join. Talk about the Gaming Circle podcast, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday mornings. Brother, where can people subscribe and, more importantly, follow you on social media?
Well, first and foremost, once again, I will reiterate, just like Hargeet did, how great that it is that awesome people join us. And thank you guys so much for being here. Forte, always great to be able to chat with you, sir. And of course,
yes, sir.
Tariffed Umbra, always a rare pleasure. As for me, you know, infinite. Nah, he's not that infinite. This time he's finite. Infinite. Anyway, you can catch me and my man, Mr. Everborn Saga, on the Gaming Circle podcast on Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to start digging through what we think of the hardware of that Switch 2. We're going to talk about the hardware profile. As the days and months progress, you're going to start seeing some more hardware overviews come out, and we're going to see, answer that question in earnest. Is that thing going to last long? Hopefully the answer is yes. But yeah, join us. That is 10 a.m. Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you being here as always. Glad everything is okay at home. Tariffed Umbra, sell the brand of where can people check out you and Daniel McGee. Make fun of Nintendo fans like me. Says that not only do we play with rocks and 6-foot poo on the show known as The Fix. And again, a lot happened in the WWE. The Cody Rhodes situation was bananas. I would imagine that's going to be a conversation. But where can people subscribe? And more importantly, tune in this Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the newest episode of The Fix.
In the arms of an angel, far away. That's the music I'm going to play as I start my GoFundMe to take care of these prices for all these games, hikes, and such when they tear us into hell. Yes, you guys can find us. First off, shout out to everybody here, and shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys, of course, can find me, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite, on social media. And Thursdays, as Boom alluded to, on The Fix. This is a Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock my time. Come by. We're going to have a fun time, because if I gave it a 7 out of 10, I know
Daniel probably gave it a 2. Yeah.
He's about to go in. And it's going to be a good discussion. I also have my buddy Crusader jumping in. He said, I desire to be on the show. He hit me up. I'm like, ain't that something? Okay. I'm like, come on in there. Crusader, if you all probably seen him on Twitter and things like that, very outspoken guy. I expect a very good conversation this Thursday. Actually, it's going to be fun. I don't know if we'll even get a chance to talk about if we talk about the WWE, it'll probably have to be at the beginning of during the housekeeping, man. If we get to this Nintendo stuff, it's going to take over the show. But other than that, of course, Friday night is the Infinite podcast for myself, Risky for the Biscuit. That blue number, Dante Moody, aka Spriggan, and Garuda Intruder every now and then when he can get free of the cake man who's chasing after him, Kay, as you know.
Let's not continue down that line of questioning, sir. Let's keep it moving. Come on.
I'll leave it alone. But so come by and check us out. And of course, I'll be here back with Boom and Jamie on Tuesdays at 12 Eastern. So come by and check us out, everybody. All love to everybody in the chat.
Appreciate you being here, brother. And lastly, one of the founding fathers, my brother from another, Forte, brother, sell the brand of the DPS podcast. That is damage per second, folks. I'm sure this is going to be a monster-sized topic when you guys launch it. You and Slow-Mo Backslap. Talk about it, brother. Where can people tune in, subscribe, and more importantly, follow you, kind sir, on social media?
Nah, man, I appreciate it, man. It's like this, when we first started this show, like, I forget, what was it, like 5
years ago, brother.
Yeah, let's say 5 years ago, and it was on Mondays. I was like, it was a great time. We did it for 2 years, and I did it for 2 years with you, and it always feels like home when I come back here with you. So awesome, I always respect you. As soon as I saw your text message, I was like, dang, I'm doing something, but let me see if I can get home in enough time to jump in here, because that's how much I respect everything that you do for the community and what you got going on your channel. So it's great to always be here. And I appreciate everybody on this panel, Kasande Hargi, Tara, all you guys you guys do great work, and I appreciate it. But outside of that, man, it's Gaming Forte on YouTube. Put up content around Xbox and just gaming and general stuff that I care about. DPS podcast every Thursday, 9 p.m. with the homie Slow-Mo. It's on the DPS gaming channel. If you put in DPS gaming or DPS podcast, you'll find it over there. So it's going to be a monster topic over there when we talk about all this stuff. We did a stream earlier, kind of talking about some of the stuff, like the pricing and things, but it's going to be a little bit more of a deep dive, and we're going to have some special guests on the show. But outside of that, man, you guys just enjoy the games you're buying. Don't let anybody tell you that something's too much for you. If you feel like it's good enough for you to buy, then that's all that really matters. If you love what you saw, love it. Don't really worry about other people's opinions and stuff, because the only opinion that matters is yours. Indeed. And we're all gamers at the end of the day, and that's all that really truly matters. So I appreciate all you guys. You guys have a great week. Enjoy everything that's going on. South of Midnight going to be an amazing thing tomorrow to see everybody's opinions on it, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. So with that, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys later.
Thanks, brother. Super appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for all of the super chats and channel member chats that continue to come in. Mrs. Boom and I are incredibly grateful for that kind of support. And of course, a big thank you to everyone that tuned in. Hit the like button on your way out. And folks, we are under 200 away from 16K, and you can help us get there by simply subscribing if you're not already subscribed. A lot of new names here. If you enjoyed the conversation, please consider subscribing. Share this out on the socials. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.